Welcome to another session on our Polycandros Yoga Studio, still in the Athens Marina. Today we are going to do a Hatha Yoga session with a focus on ab work, the abdominals, so working on that six-pack. So let's go for it. I'm going to use peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is a really nice, refreshing oil. It's still pretty hot here, although it looks like it's going to rain here soon. But peppermint is nice and refreshing, and it also opens up the airways and gets rid of sluggishness. So apply a little bit if you like. You can take a deep inhale, just settle in yourself on the mat. You just need your mat today, your bolster, your meditation cushion, and something comfortable to wear, so nothing else needed. You might want to have a block, or I have got my rolled up towels because I don't have a yoga bolster. So whatever you want to sit on, folded up cushion, or towels, or your yoga bolster. Find your seat with the legs crossed, or out front, or sitting, kneeling, whatever suits you. I'm going to choose cross-legged today. Closing your eyes. Just arriving in your space. Settle in on your prop, on your mat. Find a comfortable position, sinking down for the legs, for the seat, and lifting up for the spine, for the crown. You may want to give your shoulders a little roll upwards and backwards to open the chest, and just spend a few moments becoming still, really focusing on arriving where you are, letting all the external stimulations go, becoming a bit quieter every moment. If you like, you can have your free changing breaths. They really help me to let go of tension. So if you like, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the open mouth. And finding your yogic nasal breathing, inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling long and steady through the nose. So all the breathing in and out through the nose. Inhale is usually shorter than the exhalation. Noticing how belly and chest raise and lower with your breath. Trying to make your breath longer, smoother, slower, more conscious. Observing how busy your mind is, how engaged you are still in the outside world, and try to let that go with each exhalation, arriving a little bit more in your own body. Just allowing your thoughts to float away like clouds in the sky. Noticing how your physical home feels to the body. Are there any aches, pains, discomforts? Is it feeling comfortable, relaxed, feeling good? Just noticing from head to toes, scanning through, paying attention, really being there for your body, listening inwards. Noticing your emotions, feelings. Try to just have an awareness of them rather than judging, analyzing them. Maybe notice at the end of a session how your physical and your mental state have changed through the practice. If you like, you can bring hands together in front of your heart space. The eyes can still be closed, and if it resonates, you can set an intention for your practice or make a dedication to a person you love or yourself, taking a few moments' time. Releasing your hands back to the legs, you can open your eyes, remove your towels to the side, and coming onto all fours. Once you're on all fours, please check that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, the knees are underneath the hips, the toes can be either flat on the mat or tucked under, whichever feels best. On the inhalation, we are going to look up, releasing the spine down. On the exhalation, tucking chin and spine up, cat and cow. Inhaling, looking up, releasing spine down. Exhaling, tucking chin and spine up. You can wiggle hips, shoulders, loosening up any tense parts. Really taking your time to move slowly, consciously, there's no rush. Really tuning into your body, noticing what it needs. I'm a great fan of wiggling, moving intuitively with your own body while you explore the poses. It is going to be more helpful to do what feels good in your body than statically doing what the teacher sees, within measures of safety, of course, but really tuning into your own situation, to your own body, to your own feelings. Just flowing with your breath, up and down. It's a beautiful warm-up for the spine. Starting to move the shoulders and the hips and the neck. And let's come back to center and walk our toes together, big toes together, knees apart. Sitting back into a child's pose. So if you can't physically sit back towards your heels, you can duck a bolster, towel or cushion underneath your seat to have a bit more elevation, or keep the seat up all together. So whatever works for your body. And the arms are nice and long, out in front, away from the head. Walking the fingers forwards, releasing the seat backwards, finding that nice length in the upper body. Just resting in a child's pose for a few moments, really consciously finding that length in the body and the release for the seat. Softening for the shoulders, breath is deep and conscious. And let's stretch the side body, walking the hands out towards the right side. The right arm bends in a half, and you can rest your forehead on your right forearm. The left arm reaches up and over towards the right side, really walking those fingers up and over, releasing the left seat back towards your left heel, so a whole big stretch of the left side body from your fingertips to your seat. Again, breathing deep into the left lung, really finding that expansion on the left side. And then switching up and over to the other side. Bending your left arm now, resting forehead on left forearm, and the right arm is reaching up and over towards the left side. Breathing deep into the right lung, right hip, releasing towards right heel. Breath is deep, stretch of the whole right side body. And coming back to center. From here we're coming into a flow, child pose, plank and up dog. So we are flowing dynamically in our own space. So from a child's pose, we're coming up into a plank pose with the knees underneath the hips, the toes flat, the arms underneath the wrists underneath the shoulders. And if you want, you can lift up the knees. If it's not accessible, leave your knees down, but try to just have a soft touch on the knees. So not the full weight in the knees. You almost have them 2-3 millimeters off. So that means the abdominals are starting to engage. So if you can, full plank with the pelvis slightly elevated. So we don't want to be up here and we don't want to be down here either. So the pelvis slightly elevated and that engages the abs. So this is our plank, all knees down, just with a slight weight in the knees. And from here we're going to transition into an up dog. So in up dog we have the wrists underneath the shoulders, the body releases down, so you are in the opposite bridge situation or half moon situation where the knees are just dangling above the mat and you can look up and back without overarching the neck. From here we're going back into a child's pose. You can rest for a moment if you like. Few breaths to just observe the flow of energy, the use of energy, how much effort it takes you to do those poses. And transitioning back into a plank, find your plank. Holding plank for a few moments, few breaths. So plank works on abdominal strength, upper arm strength. You reach backwards through the heels if you're on full plank, pelvis slightly elevated. And releasing into your up dog where the pelvis releases down and the knees just float above the mat. If you can't do that, just again bring your knees down just ever so slightly. Holding for a few breaths here. Again, upper arm strength, spinal flexibility. And back into child's pose. Resting, rest for as long as you need and just do a couple more rounds in your own time. Child's pose, plank and up dog. In your own time. So I'm doing 2 more in my time. You do 2 more in your own time. Breath is nice and deep. Have enough rest in your child's pose too for the body to be able to recover and get ready for your next set. The last set. For me, you can always pause the video if you need longer. And resting in child's pose again. From here we are going to come again into a side stretch, which we have done before. So we're walking the hands towards the right, still being in child's pose. Right arm bends, forehead resting on right forearm. Left arm reaches up and over towards the right. And just see if the side stretch comes a bit easier this time. So we are stretching whole left side body, fingertips walking up and over towards the right. Left seat releases towards left heel. Breathing deep into left lung, finding more space in the left side. And switching up and over to the other side. Towards the left, Left arm bends from the elbow, resting forehead on forearm. Right arm reaches up and over towards the left, walking those fingertips forwards. Breathing deep into the right lung, right seat, releasing towards right heel. And coming back to center. Just bend your elbows in a half, or the arms in a half from the elbows, and rest your forehead on your forearms, just resting for a moment. Observing the effects of the poses. And from here we're walking forwards into a plank pose again. So in plank we want to be mindful, wrists are underneath shoulders, fingers are fully supporting your body weight. So we don't want to have loose fingers here. The fingers are really nice and spread, and the whole hand is bearing weight, not just the back part of the hand where the wrists are. So if you can do your plank full plank or half plank. So if you can't do full plank, just do a half a plank. But if you can do full, I would really encourage you to try. You don't need to do as many or as long as I do. So take your break if you need to have one earlier. So once you found your plank with the pelvis slightly elevated, wrists underneath shoulders, reaching back for your heels, we hold for a couple of moments, see how we feel, breathing deep, notice if the abdominals are engaged, and then we lift the right leg off if you can, bringing the knee towards the right elbow, right knee towards right elbow, out the back. Right knee towards the middle, back out the back. Right knee towards left elbow, out the back. And placing leg down. Left leg, bending knee in towards left elbow, reaching out the back. Knee coming in towards the middle, reaching back out the back. Towards right elbow. And back out the back. Foot down, resting back in child's pose. Arms can be wherever they feel good. Settling your breath, just resting for a few moments. So it's really quite a workout for the upper arms, for our bellies, abdominals. And coming back, we are repeating once more with our plank. So choose what you want to do, half plank or full plank. If you're doing half plank, you can really just hold with the knees just slightly off, or with little support. If you can do full plank, you can join me with this leg work. So if you're doing the leg work again, right leg lifts off, we bring the knee in towards the right elbow, out the back, towards middle, out the back, towards left elbow, out the back down. Left leg lifts up, knee towards left elbow, out the back, towards middle, out the back, towards right elbow, out the back. Right foot down, knees down, child's pose. Resting for a moment. From here we're coming back up forwards onto all fours. We're going to try heart pumps, which is pretty much push-ups a little bit more mindfully. So from all fours with knees underneath your hips and feet flat. We're bringing the hands out sideways from the shoulders off the mat or on the side of the mat. So it depends on our skeletal structure where we want to place the hands. For me, it's off the mat. So the hands are still aligned with the shoulders. sideways, slightly off. And from here we're coming down with a nose first, pelvis stays up, shoulder blades stay nice and wide, and coming back up. So pushing or releasing down and pushing back up. It's slow and mindful. The faster you do this, the easier. The more slowly you do this, the more effective. You could also do this with the knees off. I'm usually not strong enough to do this, but you could try if you are strong enough. Usually for women it's more challenging. Men might be strong enough to do the one with the knees up. So just do a few in your own time. Try to keep those shoulder blades nice and wide, so when you feel those shoulder blades coming back together, you come back up. Pelvis stays up in the ear. Breath is nice and deep. Try not to hold your breath. A couple more if you can. And last one. And coming back up. Walking your hands back in, knees apart, toes together. Resting in a child's pose. You can have your arms alongside your legs this time if you like. Breath is deep, really moving the chi, the prana back for the body. And from here, let's walk the hands forwards. Once more onto all fours, we're curling our toes under and transition into a down dog. Spreading your fingers, pointing away from the body. And pushing yourself up into your triangle shape. Be mindful the neck is nice and loose. You're releasing back and down towards the mat for the shoulders. You're reaching up towards the ceiling for your seat. You can walk the legs out or have the legs locked out, heels reaching down, or coming up onto tippy toes, releasing heels down, whichever feels right. And walking or jumping forwards into a full forward fold, so releasing the upper body entirely. A micro bend in your knees. Nice length through the legs, through the tailbone, softness, release through the upper body, through the face, the jaw. Placing your arms wherever it feels right, just resting them on the mat or having elbows, hands on elbows, or maybe interlaced behind the neck. Whatever feels good. Just spending a few more breaths there. Nice inversion, directing the blood flow towards vital organs, towards brain. Let's bring hands back to the mat. Walk the feet slightly apart on a slight angle, so the toes pointing outwards. We're coming into a dynamic movement, full forward fold and squat. So on the inhalation, bringing the upper body up and the pelvis down, gazing up towards the sky. On the exhalation, upper body comes down, pelvis up. So full forward fold and what? Inhaling squat, exhaling full forward fold. Inhaling squat and exhaling full forward fold. So really finding your own flow, moving with your breath a few more times. Breath is nice and conscious, deep, slow. And let's stay in a squat. Squat feels very different for me on the boat because the boat is on a lean. So I'm not on my full feet on a boat if I'm in this direction, so I have to balance on my toes. And so just Find what works for you here. You can have your hands supporting in the mat or bring them to the heart space. Feet are either fully flat on the floor, on your tippy toes. You can close your eyes and just spend a few breaths in your squat. And releasing the hands, supporting yourself with your hands and sitting back onto your seat. So from here we're coming into boat pose. I think I should be positioned right for the camera so you can see. So in boat pose, the feet are in front of our hips, so hip width apart. We are lifting up for the spine. Nice open chest. The hands are just resting gently on the back of the upper leg. And from here you can slide your toes inwards. Just slowly, finding your balance on your seat. So you can either have the tippy toes slightly connected or lifting them off the mat. Once you found your balance, you may want to decide to bring the arms alongside the legs, a little bit more difficult, or just supporting very gently. If you want to proceed, you can bring the lower legs parallel towards the mat, with hands supporting or hands off, and breathing. It's a bit wobbly here on the boat, so it takes a lot of balancing. And releasing back down. Just bring your soles of the feet together for now into a diamond shape and release the upper body forwards to counter pose. Breath is deep, just relaxing that whole upper body over your legs. And we'll repeat one more time, bringing the spine up. One more time in boat pose. I might turn around the other way and see if I find a bit more balance on our wobbly vessel. So again, the spine lifts up. The feet hip width apart, hands supporting behind the upper legs and sliding the toes in, coming up, finding your balance. The arms can come alongside. Breath is deep. If you want to raise your legs to be parallel towards the floor, you can. And releasing down, soles of the feet together and just counter posing for a moment. Relaxing the upper body over your legs. And coming back up. So from here we're coming into abdominal. So let's come onto our backs, lying on our backs. Make sure your neck is nice and comfortable and just tuck your knees in for a moment, giving your spine a little roll side to side, allowing the upper body to really ground into your mat, steadying your breath. And from here we are going to transition into our first ab work. So we are just bringing the legs slightly forwards so that the knees are above our hips and the lower legs parallel towards the floor. So they are elevated with knees above the hips and the lower legs parallel to the floor. If you like, you can flex your feet so your toes are pointing back towards your face and your heel away from the body. So that brings a bit of engagement into your lower legs. Our hands are being placed on our upper legs, just below the knees, so right there. And from here we're going to push with the legs into the hands and with the hands into the legs, paying attention to your spine. The spine should stay in neutral, so try not to strain your spine there. Focus should be on the abs, so the abs should start to kick in there and hold you steady, doing some work. So we are really consciously pushing with the legs into the hands and pushing back for the hands into the legs and hugging knees in. So it's a surprisingly simple but effective exercise to stimulate the abdominal muscles. Just hugging knees in and doing whatever you need to do to find release. Steadying breath, and one more time. So the lower legs parallel to floor, knees stacked on top of the hips, hands on the upper legs just below the knees, and pushing. If you like, you can also bring the upper body up. It's a bit more zing. And hands. So it's the same exercise as before, just with the head, shoulders up and gazing towards your knees. And releasing down. Bit of shaking is good. It's your body messaging it's doing some work, but never overdo things. Always find your Goldilocks balance. Not too little, not too much. There's usually a bit of discomfort involved when we try to grow the strength in the body, but we don't want to have so much discomfort that it turns into pain. So from here, let's release the feet in front of our seat on the mat. So the feet are relatively close in front of your hips. And let's bring the hands interlaced underneath our heads. Once you interlace the hands underneath your heads and release the elbows down towards the mat, try to make sure you get that sensation that your hands are really just a cushion for your head. So once we come up, we don't want to pull with our hands on the neck. It's just a place for your head to rest, to support the neck. So on the inhalation, we are bringing the shoulders up, the head up. Feet are still supporting on the mat. So again, try to tune into that sensation of the hands just supporting rather than pulling the head forwards. From here, we bring the right leg off the mat and lengthening it long, just hovering above the mat. The left knee coming in towards the body and our right elbow aims towards the left knee. So we are pedaling essentially, switching legs. Slow and conscious movement. The lower the long leg goes towards the mat, the more you engage your abs. The slower the movement, the more effective. So there's no point to rush this. Do it nice and slow. Once you feel like it's been enough for now, releasing back towards the mat, hugging the knees in or just lying flat on the mat for rest. Allowing your abdominals to recover. You can give your spine a roll or just lie still, whatever resonates. And once more, placing feet in front of your seat, interlacing hands behind your neck, releasing elbows down towards the mat. On the inhalation, we're bringing the upper body up, shoulders, head lift off the mat. Make sure the hands are just cushions for that neck. Right leg extends long, left knee hugs in, right elbow to left knee, and then switching over, left elbow to right knee. Breath is deep, slow, conscious movement. And releasing, full rest. Whatever way that works for you, just resting with legs long or hugging knees in. Breath is nice and deep. Last abdominal exercise, we are again walking our feet in front of our seat, hip widths apart. From here we are pushing into our feet and lift the seat up just slightly. We are moving our hands in with the palms facing down towards the floor and slide them underneath our seat. So the hands are now underneath our seat and we sit essentially down on our hands, which supports our spine. From here we are lifting the legs up into the ear, flexing the feet so the toes pointing down towards your face and the heel are reaching up towards the sky. And very slowly you start to release the legs down towards the mat. When I say slowly, I mean it. So it's really just 1 centimeter at a time, as slow as you can. Being mindful of your spine, of your abdominals. You may want to pause at certain places when you feel like the abs are starting to work. You might want to pause for a few breaths and then release a little bit more. If you feel your spine becoming unpleasantly stimulated or hurting, just tuck the knees in and release down. So don't do anything that hurts your spine. Once the legs are fully down, walking the feet in again and just resting for a moment. We aim to do one more if you can, otherwise you can just lie on your back for rest. So having a few breaths in a disengaged resting pose. Hands can still be underneath the seat. And next, come back up if you can do one more. Feet flex, so the toes pointing towards your face, heels reaching up towards the sky, and very slowly releasing the legs. Slowly towards the mat. Pausing wherever you feel like you can have a few breaths. Once you're fully released, walking feet in front of the seat, lifting your pelvis off your hands and releasing your hands. You may want to hug knees in once more, give your spine a little roll or do a happy baby pose. Grabbing the soles of the feet from the outside, releasing the knees down by the side of your chest and being still or rolling side to side. And from here we're going to transition into a lying twist. The feet come in front of the seat. So I give you a couple of options here for twisting. So you can watch first and then come into your pose if you like. So in twists I always aim to have the arms nice and wide from the shoulders. And the palms can be either facing up towards the ceiling or down towards the floor. It gives you slightly different rotation. If you want, you can do palms facing up one way and down the other way to get a sensation of how both feel. The shoulders are really releasing down into the mat and you try to keep that engagement. Quite often once we twist, one shoulder can come off and it's not very good for your shoulder joint, so it's safer for the shoulders to stay down and be supported. So a really easy twist is from having the feet hip width apart in front of your seat, quite close. You could just drop them and then tuck your bolster or blocks underneath the knees to support yourself. A step up is to bring the left leg up and over the right leg, left leg up and over right, and then drop them towards the right. Again, you can place your bolster or cushion or blankie or whatever you have underneath there. And one more step up from there is twisted roots. So again, the left leg comes up and over the right, but then you tuck those left toes in underneath the right lower leg. So we twist the feet together and then drop the legs. So you choose whichever suits you for today. In the twist, our pelvis is usually midline, and when I twist, I quite often bring my lower seat up and over towards the back a little bit more to encourage that twisting sensation in the spine, and it feels really nice. So you can experiment with having that lower seat backwards slightly, being mindful that the left shoulder stays connected with the mat. So we are twisting towards the right now with the knees. Feel free to use here towels or bolsters underneath the knees if you can't reach the floor, so your legs feel supported. And just spending a few breaths there. Nice wide chest. If you gaze, you can experiment. Where do you want to gaze to? Towards the right is the easiest. Up towards the sky is medium stimulation for the neck. Up and over towards the left is a nice twist for the neck as well. And just find what feels good. As your body relaxes, you might be able to shift your props. Noticing the sensations each time you come into a new pose. And most often there are poses where we spend a bit of time really noticing what are the sensations in your body. Like in my own body, I can at the moment feel a tingling and tickling in my left shoulder and left hand and fingers. So it tells me it's about time to release, and also that there's stagnancy being removed. Something is happening. Feels relatively pleasant in the rest of my body, but it's really important to notice when things like that happen, like there's almost a feeling of numbness now. So I know I need to release the pose. So always being aware when you have had enough for your own body. So coming back to center, releasing your leg. And I always like to counter pose, hugging the knees and giving my spine a little roll, or just lying still, observing the after effects. Maybe just stretch the legs out, even rest the arms, and just notice. It's really important we get familiar again with listening to our bodies, listening inwards. There's so much outside noise in our society. Really important to connect to that inner voice, inner calm. Maybe switching to the other side. So if you've used a prop underneath your knees before, you can move it towards the left now. The arms coming nice and wide again. And the feet in front of your seat, hip width apart. You can choose your variation, either just dropping the knees from here towards the left, or having right leg up and over the left leg and then dropping them towards the left, or having your twisted roots where you tuck those left toes underneath the right lower leg and then dropping the knees towards the left. Again, you can shuffle that lower seat up and over towards the right a little bit and find a placement for your neck. Towards left, right, up towards the ceiling. Shoulders stay nice and connected with the mat, with the floor. Settling into your pose. In tuning in with your body, observing sensations. Got the same happening in my right shoulder, arms and fingers, a little feeling of tingling and numbness. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Which part of your body feels most stimulated, or is it just an all-round nourishing pose? Breath is deep. And slowly, gently releasing back to center. Bringing yourself back to midline. Releasing in any way that feels good. Hugging knees in or rolling yourself nice side to side, or doing your happy baby, grabbing soles of the feet. It's a nice release for the spine after being stimulated. And then you prepare for your Shavasana, lying on your back or in a recovery position on your side, whichever feels good. I do really recommend you have about 5 to 10 minutes or even longer if you like in your Shavasana, full resting pose. Lying on your back or on your side, so really finding your comfort, having a cushion underneath your head if you like, a planky of a body. Making yourself comfortable, releasing the whole body into the mat, softening the face, letting go of your conscious breath, finding that sense of complete relaxation. There is nothing to do, just being. Just allowing yourself to be in that state. There is nothing required of you other than be. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.